All right, we're going to practice solving some 1 and 2 step equations. I realize that you can do most of this in your head. That's why we're going to use these to practice our good equation solving skills. So what I want you to do is I want you to divide your equation in half because we need to keep our equation balanced. Circle everything that goes with the variable. That's the letter. All right, then we're going to start doing inverse operations. So the inverse of adding 4 is to subtract 4. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. I do this so these 4's will zero out. So I'm left with x is equal to 8 minus 4 is 4. That's my solution. I know you can do that in your head, but you're going to practice these steps. All right, we'll divide your equation in half. Circle everything that goes with your variable. This is to subtract 3. The opposite or inverse of subtracting 3 is to add 3. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. The point of this is to get that to zero out. So I'm left with x is equal to 8 plus 3, which is 11. We're saying these are the same thing. So if I go back up here and put 11 in for x, 11 minus 3 is 8. So we know we're right. Okay, everything goes with my x this time. So I'm just gonna, when the number is next to the letter, it means to multiply. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. I have to take that negative sign with it. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. All right, I do this, so this turns into 1x. So 1x is equal to 49 divided by negative 7. And so I'm going to wind up with x is equal to negative 7 because negative 7 times negative 7 is 49. All right, this time I'm multiplying by x. I can divide my equation in half. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. When I divide with a fraction, I'm multiplying by its reciprocal. So I have to multiply both sides with the reciprocal of 1/2. I'm going to multiply by 2 over 1. I do this because this divides out and leaves me with 1x. And then I just have to do 18 times 2, which is 32, and 1 times 1 is just 1, so we know this is going to be 32. I know these one-step equations are easy. That's why we're practicing them. All right, two-step equations. All right, so I'm going to divide my equation in half. I have to keep both sides balanced. Circle everything that goes with your variable. This leaves me with plus 4. All right, I need to subtract 4 to both sides. I'm trying to get the x on one side and the numbers on the other side. I do this so this turns into 0. So then I'm left with 2x is equal to 8 minus 4 is 4. Now I'm multiplying. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. I do this because this divides out to give me 1x, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. All right, this time the variables on the other side doesn't matter. Same steps. Divide the equation in half, circle everything that goes with your variable. All right, I need to get rid of the minus 4 because I'm leaving the variable on one side. So the opposite of subtracting 4 is to plus 4. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. This time, this is going to zero out. So I have 2 plus 4 is 6, and that equals to this 3x that's left over. But I don't want to know what 3x is equal to. I want to know what 1x is equal to. So this means multiply. The opposite of multiplying is to divide. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. So my x's divide away, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 2 is equal to x, or x is equal to 2. This is what makes my equation true. So if I put this 2 up here, that's 3 times 2 is 6, minus 4 is this 2. So my equation's balanced. All right, number 3, divide the equation in half. Circle everything that goes with the variable. That includes this negative sign. I want my x's on one side and my numbers on the other, so I need to get rid of the minus 3. Opposite of subtracting 3 is to add 3. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. I do this so this can zero out. I'm left with a negative 3x. And then I have 12 plus 3 is 15. But I don't want to know what negative 3x's are. I just want 1x. So the opposite of multiplying is to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. This gives me negative 3 divided by negative 3 gives me 1. And 15 divided by negative 3 gives me negative 5. So if I plug this negative 5 back in for x, negative 3 times negative 5 is a positive 15 minus 3 gives me 12. So I know I'm right. We're doing these easy equations, so when you get your answer, you know that you're doing it right. All right, the 1/2 goes with the x. I'm going to divide my equation in half. I'm going to keep the x's on the left. I'm going to move this minus 4 to the other side. Opposite of subtracting 4 is to add 4. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. So I wind up with my 1/2 x. That becomes 0. 10 plus 4 is 14. All right, the opposite of multiplying is to divide. But when I divide by a fraction, I'm really multiplying by the reciprocal, which is this number flipped. So I have to multiply both sides by 2 over 1. I do this because that divides away. That leaves me with x. 14 times 2 is 28. It's 14 over 1, but 1 times 1 is 1. So there you go. So if I were to plug this back in here, half of 28 would be 14, and 14 minus 4 would be 10. So I know that I did it correctly. Okay, these are a few easy problems to practice with. I want you to show all the steps that I showed. On the next page, it's going to be your turn. So you're going to use all these same steps and answer your own questions.